This week's episode of This Is Only a Test is made possible by the fine folks at MailChimp. MailChimp is an easy-to-use marketing platform with a name that might make it sound like they only do email, but they do just about everything to help businesses grow, like ads, postcards, landing pages, audience management tools, automations, reports, and more. You could say MailChimp grew so much that they outgrew their name, and their marketing tools can help you do the same. Go to MailChimp.com and sign up for free and see how MailChimp can help grow your business. MailChimp. They do more than mail. Hey, let's start the show for Thursday, April 25th, 2019. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com.
Right.
Look at that fucking squirrel on my bird feeder.
And then suddenly, the Enterprise D's bridge.
Wow. That didn't sound great at all.
It's almost like we only heard the left or right channel.
I
of
know.
That whole song.
That's so weird. I mean, for people out there listening, that probably sounded like a fine dubstep intro for you, but for us, we have some technical difficulties, so we can't really hear our music. We assume it played well.
It played.
Anyway,
Yeah,
it played.
something happened there.
Something happened. Welcome to the podcast this week. I'm Norm, and I'm joined by two co-hosts from an alternate universe. Jeremy and Kishore are not here. You heard the dubstep intro. We got sitting in Will Smith. Will, how you doing?
I'm in charge of music today. Everybody get ready to get wrecked.
Wow.
It's just like the old times.
Oh, why did I let you
The
get...
old days.
Yeah.
You said, hey, can you do the music? And I said, absolutely. I've got this.
You're the only one, I think, with a working headphone jack out on your laptop.
I've got plugs. I've got USB. I've got USB-C. I've got
That's
USB-A.
You got DisplayPort?
I've got
HDMI?
I've got an HDMI. I don't think I have a display port. I
No
think
mini
that's on the
DP.
dock.
Okay.
No, but I got USB-C.
You have a lock.
I've got 3 USBs and a USB-C and an HDMI. I'm prepared. Plus, you know, the anti-DRM, the only DRM-free port left on my computer
Really?
is that analog out.
Oh,
Because everything else has
that's true.
DRM. So, I mean, you can DRM on USB, put it on USB-C,
Right.
put it on HDMI. Nobody's blocking that analog hole, man.
No.
Someone's working on DSP to do that.
It would be nice.
There's a guy.
Yeah. Probably.
And we have another special guest. This is your second time, I think, on this podcast.
Maybe
your first
third.
time, maybe third, because you were on Octobercast, which was our 24-hour podcast we did so many years ago. We're not doing one right now. Don't worry, there's not going to be a 24-hour podcast.
That would be horrible. Those poor people stuck with me for 24 hours.
Well, you took the brunt of the midnight shift, the 2 a.m. shift. But it's Robbie Baldwin. Robbie, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Doing okay. Robbie, for people out there who don't know, we used to work with you back in the magazine days. You worked at Mac Life magazine.
Mm-hmm.
You ran the website there. You also have worked at Wired.
Yep.
Wired, the website. And now you currently you worked at
Gizmodo.
Gizmodo. That's right. After
Yeah.
Wired, and now you work at Engadget.
Work at
You've been
Engadget.
all over. You've touched every
I
big
can't
pillar.
keep a job, is what the.
Well, the places you've worked at, only reputable places, but you've been at Engadget for quite a while now.
Like, I got one of those LinkedIn, it's your work anniversary. And I'm like, oh, what is it? Like 4 years. I've been there for
4 years?
4 years. That's as long as I was at Mac Life. So
It seems
it's
like
now
it's been a lot longer than that.
4 years. 4 years at Engadget.
I think you just turned me up, Norm.
Is that you? No,
I don't know.
That was Robbie.
Okay.
I think that was
Oh,
Robbie.
I don't know.
I'm
faith.
sound engineering as well.
It's fine.
Today.
Yeah, you got this.
I got this.
I'm going to get you a little mini board.
Episode 497, folks. 3
So-
episodes left until 500. So I wanted to get Robbie in, one, because you're the only person available.
Wow. I'm on vacation right now.
Ooh.
But
And
couldn't-
Norm's like, hey, you want to do the podcast tomorrow? I'm like, I got nothing else going on.
It could not have been more timely because your beat at Engadget is cars, is electric vehicles, something that we talk about without any real knowledge about on the podcast all the time. And so I'm really glad that we have someone in this week who will actually help set the record straight and explain to us what's really going on with electric
Hey,
cars.
we tested 2 electric cars.
We did.
Thank you, sir. 4, I guess, now.
Oh.
You guys have.
Yes. In total, we've definitely covered electric cars untested. Will, you did the BMW i3, the Panda car.
Yeah. The
We
baby
also
car. I did that smart car, the
Was that
electric smart car.
The
that nightmare thing, that
Yeah.
terrifying thing. Yeah, it was
Oh my
electric
God, I
as hell.
forgot.
We got it up to 90 miles an hour on the freeway.
That was not good.
Was it
It was-
downhill?
No, it was up on the 280 on ramp.
Yeah, on the flat part of 280.
on 6th,
it was
6th Street.
terrifying.
It was like vibrating.
That car
It's
is only
shimmied.
in town. If you live in a city and you're going to stay in a city,
Yeah.
it's totally fine. Park it anywhere.
It was not meant to go on the
No,
freeway.
we took it to the steepest slope in San Francisco.
You can't say that
Oh,
word.
Why not?
It's racist.
It's a God.
the steepest hill?
The
Yes, there
steepest
you
hill.
go.
Oh.
Incline.
I was like,
Incline.
steepest
Incline.
is racist?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was racist against
Brick's
like,
not a bad word,
coffee
Dad.
people.
So yeah, we it was brilliant. We took
Yeah.
it to we Googled, and unfortunately, it turns out when you search like the steepest incline in San Francisco, steepest hill,
Yeah.
it's like half a block of hill. It's
It's
not,
not even
what you
that.
think
It's like
of.
16 feet.
Yeah, it's like oh, in this one straight on this 20-foot stretch, it's pretty steep. But we were imagining, oh, let's
Those are
find this like
scientific.
multiple like block hill that's like at this 30-degree incline, and it wasn't that. But it was still fun, and the car barely made it up the hill. But yes, we have covered electric cars untested. I have an electric car. We've test driven, cars from Tesla. But you've done a lot more of that. You reviewed the Model 3 for Engadget.
Yep, I reviewed the Model 3.
And you probably know about all manner of companies working on electric cars. That
In fact, I do.
we're going to get to that. And we have a technology dedicated to, or we have a section on this podcast dedicated to technology. And that's where we're talking about some electric cars.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Robbie, what do you drive? What's your personal car?
I own a Subaru BRZ.
Is that electric?
No, it is an
What?
internal combustion engine, rear-wheel drive
It's
car.
an ICE.
It's an ICE car. Yes.
Wow.
So
So you
it is.
pumping it full of dead dinosaurs
It's
every
just
day.
everyday dead dinosaurs, like some old ferns, just anything that you
man.
can make into a goo, pump out of the earth, and make gasoline out of.
You know-
But here's the thing: I never drive that car.
'Cause
It's
you always
my
have-
it's my
yeah.
wife's car, really.
Okay.
My wife drives that car about 95% of the time because she has to commute to work.
Okay.
And she wanted something that was quick, that was fun to drive, and had a manual transmission, and that hit all the marks.
When you guys drive that together and you're sitting in the passenger seat, she's driving, do you do like the rally car thing and co-drive? You like, we've got
Hold a map out?
Slight left, 300 meters?
Yes,
200 meters? 10,
for about
9?
5 minutes until
Left turn.
she punches me.
Okay, that's good.
She's just stop.
It's good that she keeps
There's a
you in
lot
line.
of stop, quit it. What are you doing?
I remember. We used to sit next to each other. I have a dinosaur story.
Oh, well, let's hear
I
it.
learned something fascinating the other day. It's kind of a moment of science, but Kishore's not here, so he's going to dismiss it.
That's all right.
Do you know why we have coal now?
Because Superman hasn't smashed all of them into diamonds.
No. For millions and millions of years, there were no microorganisms that could break down wood. So for a long, long time, when a tree would die and fall over, it would just stay there and not rot for an incredibly long time. Then they eventually got mushed and mushed.
So
and
no
mushed and mushed
bacteria,
and mushed.
nothing.
No fungus, no bacteria. The trees just were eternal.
And so they compact it.
And then they got compacted and they became coal and fossil fuels.
So carbon in its not most
Wow.
compacted
Yeah.
form, but in its intermediate compact form.
Yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, hydrocarbons are, there's more to it than that. But yeah, I thought that was, it never even occurred to me. When you think about geologic timescale, think about a forest that's just dead trees piled on top of more dead trees, piled on top of more dead
For
trees.
millions of years.
For millions of years.
So there could be a planet out there that's nothing but coal.
Nothing but dead trees.
And then once humans go there and leave their bacteria, all the coal's gone.
Well, this came up because presumably this is what's going to happen to the plastic that we're crapping up the earth with right now. Right now there's no microorganisms that can digest it, but at some point something will have a mutation, like X-Men style, and become able to eat the plastic, and then that thing's going to rule the planet. It's
that
going
is genuinely fascinating.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
But that while all that plastic gets smushed down
Yeah.
into the earth,
Exactly.
maybe it'll turn into some sort of energy for whatever creature comes after us. I believe it'll be the raccoon, by the way.
You think the trash panda?
I think the time of the raccoon is upon us. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For humans. Well, not really.
Death is coming. Eat trash. Be free.
Yes. Right there.
Yeah. I love that. It's one of my favorites. This is why we're friends, Robbie.
Yeah.
Very good. Wow. Science anecdote to start the podcast off. All right.
I don't know if that's true. I read it on Twitter, by the way. It could be completely made up.
Okay. Jesus. Hot damn. Thanks for qualifying your anecdotes.
Disclaimer: no actual science was discussed during the science moment.
Look, the person who tweeted it had a picture that looked like a scientist. So
Okay.
Did they have a white jacket on?
probably no. Scientists don't wear white jackets.
No, they're
for
hipper
real.
now.
Yeah.
At least the ones on Twitter.
They're wearing plaid shirts. You know that blue check gingham shirt? That's what most of them wear.
Hey,
Uniform of science.
There are geologists that we could fact check this with. CC.
We all know what fact checking does to podcasts.
I'm
sure-
just saying, before you told the story,
The comments are just going to tell us if we got it right or not.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fact check for sure.
There's a person who knows.
So, Robbie, you cover cars now. In your previous places, when you were at Wired, when you were at Gizmodo, what else were you covering? What were your beats?
I've covered Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, IoT, hard drive. It's just everything. I've covered literally
Technologies.
everything.
And what's been the most exciting for you?
Cars,
Cars.
especially in the last few years, just because smartphones are just computers are. We've all learned that AI is really great at serving us ads and nothing else. But the car beat is
Don't forget
interesting.
making fake porn.
Oh yeah, and making fake porn. I mean, yeah, that's a given.
Yeah,
But
but
do you
cars.
It seems like a lot of work because people can you don't really need the fake porn. It seems.
There's enough of the real porn.
Yeah, there's enough of the
Yeah.
real porn that you don't. I don't know. Maybe just.
So the car beat is the beat that you've been most excited about and enjoying the most.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a car guy, car person. I was that way before I was a nerd. I didn't get a computer till I was 21, but I was driving at 13. I wrecked my first car when I was 15, so that's a nice.
Hey,
little
nice.
story.
I was 17 when
What's
I wrecked
the
my
best?
first car.
I'm getting these questions out of the way now before we get to the news. But what's been the best electric car or new car thing you've driven or ridden in?
The best electric car. I think for regular people, the Hyundai Kona EV is the best electric car.
That's the one you would recommend. But what's the one you've enjoyed riding in the most or driving the most?
The car that I've enjoyed driving the most is the Lamborghini Huracan Spider.
Oh my
Sweet.
god!
Just
All
because,
right.
and it's really because it's a Lamborghini. I
Yeah.
think there's that little, like, when you're a kid, Lamborghini is the car you want when you're 12 years old.
It's either
It's the car
Lambo
you
or
draw.
Ferrari, right?
Yeah, and you want they're insane, and it handled like there was no tomorrow. And I didn't fit, and when I would turn right,
What do you mean you didn't fit?
I don't fit in a Lamborghini.
You're like
I'm too
6'4"?
tall. I'm too tall. I'm 6'3".
6'3".
And so my legs are right up against the steering wheel. So when I'm turning right, there's a center console and the steering wheel. I have to move my right hand up and down. I can't just leave my hand there because it hits my leg.
So there's a lot more movement.
Did you feel like the coolest you've ever felt in your life when you're driving the Lamborghini?
No.
No,
I don't
it
think
didn't affect you at all.
I think there's the that people are looking at you and thinking, what a douchebag.
Oh, so what is it? It wasn't on a track. You did it like
No, it was on the road. It was
Okay.
on the
Oh,
road.
you're self-aware.
Wow.
So
Yes.
that's the problem.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a self-aware. Like when I drive Mercedes and BMWs,
Yeah.
I am
test drive.
I am the
let's qualify
test drive,
that.
yeah.
Test drive.
When
yes.
I'm driving those cars, I make sure that I am the nicest driver on the road.
I was gonna
Everyone
ask.
goes in front of me. I'm like, go ahead of me, you person walking. Well, you should do that anyway. But
Yeah.
I'm extra self-aware of what the folks that drive a German sports sedan, how they act.
When I was driving the smart car, I felt like everybody was looking at me for the opposite reason. Like wow, look at that dumbass.
clown car.
Did you find that the BMW made you drive like more aggressively and like a more evil person? Did you cut people off, anything like that?
No,
not so much.
Not so much. I think, I'm the car guy, but I understand, be nice to bicyclists.
You're a human.
I'm a human.
Yeah.
That's I'm
Human
a
first.
human first, car guy second.
Okay.
Reporter third. I don't know.
I might even go reporter. Anyway,
Probably
yeah.
reporter second.
Yeah, reporter second. Okay.
But the funnest electric car I've driven it's a between the P100D Model S, just because you can go. You just put people in the car. It's like taking them to Magic Mountain. They're like, wee! Or the Jaguar I-Pace.
Wow.
Because that
Oh, you've
car
driven a
handles,
Jaguar I-Pace.
it handles, we got to drive it on a track in Portugal.
Whoa.
On a really technical track. And it did really well for a car that size. And I got to go off-road. And so it does kind of everything for like this very pretty
Oh my god, I have
electric
so many
car.
questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
this
thing-
is really cool.
The thing that still the thing that struck me really every time I've driven an electric car is that it feels completely different. Like there's none of the engine lag that we just is built into our brains with ICE cars.
The sound is completely different. I was driving to work today, and as sometimes happens, the center console on the Model 3 did not turn on. It was all black, which also meant that I couldn't tell if my turn signals were working. It still drives. I could still get on the road.
I would
all
hope
the
But
flexibility and software of a phone built into your car.
That's right. And
Sounds
so,
great.
10 minutes into the drive, it still hadn't rebooted yet. And I'm like, I got no AC, no
What?
radio.
Can you roll your windows down even?
I believe I could roll my windows down.
Okay.
I didn't
Just
roll.
opens
it was
it up a
nice
little
and cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was really quiet. And that was the thing. I was like, oh, this is really eerily quiet.
Oh, you didn't have any music?
Nothing. And then you can manually force it to reset by holding the buttons down, and then so I did that. But it was just like really, really
How do you
quiet.
do this? You hold down like two
Do the
buttons
home
until-
and the lock button at the same time.
Yeah,
until the logo
basically,
pops up.
that's exactly it. There's two buttons on the steering wheel. And you just hold down for 10 seconds.
button in the fuel tank and a button
and then,
under the hood.
and then the
two
Tesla logo
people.
pops up, and then everything
In
starts
your
working
frunk.
again.
On 3.
Turn
That's
your
right.
key, sir.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get to more car stuff later. Let's head to our first section and talk about the top story. Oh, we don't have that music.
Yeah, we do.
We do. We do.
Avengers.
Oh.
Avengers.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
So I was gonna
Avengers
say,
Endgame. Yeah. There it
top
is.
story this week. So Endgame. Thanks for jumping ahead there, Robbie.
Did I screw up the podcast?
that's all right. No,
I'm
that's all right.
sorry, everyone.
Well, this is a do-over.
We are recording this actually on Thursday, so people should be listening to this evening. And I'm going to do the one thing, Will, that you've prescribed that I have not listened to for
what?
the 9 years of running Tested.
What are you going to
And
do?
I'm going to turn off the comments for this podcast.
Oh, thank Christ.
And I'm doing it.
Just turn them off all the time.
No,
everywhere.
just for this
Comments are
podcast.
bad.
That's true. The
I'm
comments
gonna,
are bad.
Just for this podcast on YouTube because, and maybe I'll forget and that'll be bad, but because Endgame is out.
Do you know?
And people have seen it now.
Yeah.
There was a press screening, worldwide debut, I think on Tuesday. Obviously, people in overseas in Europe and New Zealand have seen it more than a day ago, 24 hours ago.
It was out in China a few days ago before that even.
I have not seen it yet.
No, I'm seeing it tomorrow morning.
Oh, wow.
10
You'll
o'clock.
see it before me. I'm seeing it. I won't even let people know when I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it soon. Seeing
Yeah.
it soon. Robbie, have you seen it yet? You have interest?
No, I haven't. I don't even think I've watched the trailer.
You didn't watch? Oh, well.
Because I'll watch maybe one trailer and then I'm like, you know what?
You're good.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
The only
I kind of
there was a trailer before Captain Marvel when I took my daughter last weekend.
Yeah.
And that's the only trailer I've seen.
Oh, and I have to see Captain Marvel too.
You should
you
probably
gotta
see
get on
Captain
that.
Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's still in theaters, and I think that it will not be impacted. So you could.
Okay. So I
you
gotta
could
watch it.
Probably,
You could probably
watch.
go have a theater to yourself
Yeah.
tonight to
Ooh.
see Captain Marvel.
That might. Well, I might be.
So last night on Twitch, people were putting spoilers
Oh my
in
God.
their usernames.
No.
And coming into channels and just posting something so
No.
they'd get banned or it would pop up in follower notifications
That's
or whatever.
terrible. And last
are
week
the
when we were recording the
worst.
podcast, we talked about the ending leaked. And
Yep.
at some early screening overseas.
Wolverine
some jerk
comes in
No.
and he stabs Thanos.
No.
Ant-Man goes up Thanos'.
No, that didn't happen.
No.
There's a hot
Okay.
dog eating contest at the end.
Yeah,
Whoever
but,
wins.
But someone's
Oh, man,
posted
that'd be
the
so
ending
good.
at some point. And
Berserker Barrage, and then you just.
what you can't avoid, of course, are people sharing their opinions of people you follow on Twitter, right? If you're logged on Twitter, and people and plenty of people I follow
It's your first
have
mistake.
seen it already, and they're trying to be as nice as they can. But even those spoiler-free reviews, I think, are giving too much.
I have one spoiler-free piece of information.
I don't want to hear it.
to. No,
Is it that there's superheroes in the movie?
no, we all know that.
Okay.
Robbie. The preview screenings
Yeah.
cut some stuff out, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Like ending stuff, or
Like maybe post-credits bits.
whoa? How do you know this?
And
I've
sex
got
scenes?
sources.
Interesting.
So some of the preview screenings, there was like a hitch in the credits where presumably they would normally jam in like 12 post-credit scenes.
yeah,
Set up the phase 4.
sure.
So maybe that stuff didn't make the preview screening.
This is not new. Marvel has done this
Yeah.
because the press screenings and preview screenings, oftentimes, I mean, famously for the first Avengers film, for when I was in 2012,
We didn't know about shawarma back
the
then.
shawarma scene was filmed after, like the
Really?
first. It was like they had leaked it out because they got all the. They filmed it during the press promo. for the press conference. Right after the press conference, all the cast was back together,
Ah.
and then someone accidentally leaked. I think it was Robert Downey Jr. or maybe Mark Ruffalo. He sounds like a guy
Mark
who leaks
Ruffalo's a
things.
leaker.
Yeah, he's like, we
Mark.
got to film one more scene, and then people were what? And then in the worldwide debut, it was not there, but when we hit theaters, because it's all digital, they pushed out
you go.
and
They had to
they
block
filmed that. They blocked out
Chris Evans'
Yep.
beard. But ironically, when now
Now he has one.
he's a beardo.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
A beardo.
So that's a
What
big
you call
story.
people with beards.
That's
Rob.
his
This
new.
week.
That's he's actually he's now that's what his
Yep.
his new name.
Yep.
The
Beardo.
movie is poised
Beardo
to make
Evans.
a ton of money. It is outpaced in terms of pre-sales every movie before it, including Infinity War, including Star Wars: Force Awakens, which I think-
Avatar.
back in Avatar,
Titanic.
we didn't have those pre-orders. We didn't have they didn't amass.
And Man of
Fandango
Titanic
and-
had pre-orders.
I don't think people would have pre-ordered.
No,
I think that was word of mouth.
There were,
Titanic?
Yeah, Titanic was slow burn. The days of the slow burn.
Titanic
True.
was
That's true.
crazy.
It was
the
a-
lead up to it, I worked with a woman who had every book about Titanic before Titanic came out, and she would
Really?
talk to me about all of her friends who were very excited to see
yeah.
Titanic. It
Wait,
was just-
because it was about Titanic or because
because it was
of-
about Titanic, and then she would go into this little monologue about how James Cameron had done all this stuff for the Titanic and how it just on, and my eyes would glaze over, and I'm like, I gotta go make a logo.
I had no idea the hype for
My-
Titanic was that
was-
big.
So my
Yeah.
mom is one of those people. Like she's a Titanic super fan, and when they found it, it was like the shit stopped in our house,
Wow,
right? Like everybody she went bonkers. And
the '90s, man.
Like we went to all the Titanic exhibitions. She came to when the thing was touring around with all the bits and pieces.
Yeah.
She's been to all of those.
But that was a post movie or before the
Pre-movie.
movie?
I don't know that she's
Pre-movie.
ever seen the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe
Kind
she's
of missed
holding.
opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean, if she watched the movie, it would have been to see the recreations, not because she gave a shit about Rose and Jack.
Got it.
Yeah.
They weren't real people.
No, they were fake.
What?
They were fake.
They took a perfectly good true story and tarted it up.
Wow, I made $1 billion.
She could have like
in the
just let
process.
him on the door.
I mean, look,
Adam's
there's been
tested
some
this.
science.
Oh,
done
should
on
I should have
this.
said a spoiler alert?
Do you
before
know?
that?
Do you know why?
Have I ruined
Do you know why she didn't let him on the door? The plot.
drama?
The plot demanded it.
He has to die.
Yeah, he has to die.
Jack must die.
Imagine if. Yeah. Anyway, Titanic 2.
It's more about the stars being wrong. Anyway,
Jack and Rose get married.
so how do we talk about Endgame? Will we talk about it next week?
I'm not going to
Well-
be here next week. I don't think so. I mean, maybe.
Gosh, I know
talk
Jeremy
about
and Kishore will have seen it then.
Yeah.
Kishore's gonna want to talk about it. What? We don't have comments. I won't let people won't be able to let us know. You know what I'll do? I'll turn the comments on next.
Just leave
week.
them on untested.
Yeah.
Tested comments you can't turn off, probably.
Can you make
Yeah.
a little poll?
Maybe I'll do it.
Can you do a Twitter poll?
I can do a Twitter poll.
Oh, everybody loves a good Twitter poll.
I gotta stay off Twitter.
Yeah, don't go on Twitter.
You just make the poll and then back off.
Look, here's a big secret. I stopped going to Twitter because I was worried about Avengers spoilers. Now I'm much better off. Now I'm just not on Twitter. It's really good.
The life spoilers, everything.
Yeah, it's like when I stopped going to Facebook because I was like, I'm not going to go to Facebook anymore. That worked out. It's nothing. I haven't missed anything.
if I didn't have my job, I wouldn't go on any of those.
I never know when anybody's birthday is anymore.
I don't wish anyone their happy birthday
No.
on Facebook because I feel like I'm cheating.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
I have
so
to
I just
remember.
I'm like, I'm not gonna wish you a happy.
When I
birthday.
wish Norm happy
you-
birthday last year, that was from the heart, not because Mark Zuckerberg told me to.
Also, my birthday's wrong on Facebook because
Yeah, I know. 'cause-
infosec.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I'm just trying to remember. Do I know Will's birthday?
No,
May
that's right.
19th.
Nope. That's
16.
Maker Fair.
Same thing.
Norm's got the important dates locked
Priorities.
in.
Priorities. Okay, let's move on to our next topic.
Oh, hold on. I'm ready for you.
All right, I could hear that.
You need to really level out these. These
Yeah.
are like
Oh, yeah.
wildly varying.
Oh, I'm gonna go
volumes.
replace all the music.
Norm's got a guy. He'll
Yeah,
take care of it.
Yeah, the guy it turns out is me. Well, you know what? In pop culture, it's Endgame again, and
I feel like we just talked about
I
this.
know we did. So theaters apparently adding screenings. It's gone too far. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are theaters running marathons, and some theaters are doing the full 21,
23,
20,
isn't it?
22
27?
film marathon.
69.
There's a more reasonable marathon where some theaters are doing Infinity War first,
Okay.
so you can go Infinity War right into
okay.
Endgame. And of course, movies don't open on Fridays anymore. Movies barely open on Thursdays. They kind of do 8 p.m. Thursday.
Wednesday night, midnight. It's the new Thursday night.
Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, whatever it is. Well, some theaters are not only doing 8 p.m. showings the night before and midnight showings, but also 2 a.m. showings and also 4 a.m. showings. They're adding extra showings in the middle of the night
Back in my
to
day,
make more money.
Back in my day, when a movie opened on Friday, you showed up at 12:01 on Thursday night, Friday morning.
That's
to
right.
see that movie. When we saw Transformers 1, 2, and also Transformers 3 for reasons that I can't really explain at midnight at the Metreon on the huge IMAX screen. By God, I was up until 3 o'clock in the morning, all 3 of those times to watch those bad movies.
Well, here's the thing I don't like about midnight screenings. I think there's a time and place for it. I think it's a rite of passage. I certainly have done my share of midnight screenings, and some of those have been really great experiences with a shared audience reaction, especially if you've been waiting for a film for a long time. Lord of the Rings was a great
Yeah.
midnight.
Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
Not
These
so good.
days, because of the way theater exchange works and because of the trailer system, they're like 15 to 20 minutes of trailers and pre-roll and advertisements, and here is
Lots
telling
of
you
Coca-Cola commercials.
How do you feel about M&Ms, guys?
Oh, don't pick up your phone. Why
no.
are they on that secret mission again? And IMAX bumpers and Dolby Vision bumpers. I watch Dolby Vision all the time. I don't need you to tell me that the colors are better and the black levels are more black.
It's gonna make me
Yes,
poop.
I know
It's
the
so good.
screen is still on.
Yeah.
Why can't they? If they're gonna do a midnight screen or a very first quote unquote first showing, can't they bump that up so that the movie starts at 8 o'clock?
I think this segment goes at the end of the show, Norm.
Oh, things that annoy me?
Yeah.
I'm going to put it here. It's in pop
Okay.
culture. Why can't you just get all the trailer stuff? If they have to play it. But get that stuff done ahead of time so people who are already there to watch a movie at midnight or 2 a.m. don't have to stay up till 5 a.m. They get that extra 20 minutes.
Look, those are the true believers, man. You got to get them, hit them hard and fast. They've got to know what's coming next. They got to know
There's a
that
new
Spider-Man
Sandra
Homecoming.
Bullock movie coming out. They
Yeah.
have to know.
Right. Spider-Man Homecoming is just a few weeks away, Norm. And probably DC has some bullshit too.
Ant-Man.
I don't know. What?
3. The antiest.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. I mean, at least now, since you can reserve seats, I've noticed that going to movie screenings, people show up. They know like 10 minutes in is when they'll walk into the theater to their reserved
Well,
seat.
and also it's nice because like you don't have to line up at 9 o'clock to get
That's right.
decent seats at the midnight showing in the IMAX.
Thank you, technology.
You don't have to worry about those single seats because people don't want to sit next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to
Well,
touch
they do that
elbows.
anyway because they book them.
Oh, you book them with the
book-
single?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but then there's always some single person who wants the good
There's
seat.
a lonely person.
So I know we're not talking about Transformers, but I saw Bumblebee the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And they finally made a good Transformers
really
It's a
movie.
good. I watched
It's
it on
really
a
good.
plane because
I
I've
enjoyed
watched
it.
the Transformers
That's the
movies.
place- that's the
and,
place to
and
watch 'em.
every time they end, I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, and I'm
Yeah.
very angry. And then I watch Bumblebee, and at the end, I'm on the plane. I'm like looking around. I'm like,
It was kind of a nice redo
What the-
of Transformers 1. You know, a kid and their robot.
Yeah, it's
a very good movie.
And with a big war. The opening scene was pure fan service.
Oh, it's all the good
on
robots.
Cybertron.
Yeah.
All the robots that you collected as toys that you're never
had
going to
Cup.
see on Earth. They got them all done. The CG was fantastic.
Yep.
Had just enough Transformers fighting. It wasn't overdone.
Nope. You
on
can follow
Earth.
the action because the director
Oh,
was
yeah.
good.
yeah.
Yeah, Travis Knight. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it didn't just look like someone grabbed a bunch of motherboards and RAM and glued it together and then
Oh,
just
I was
rolled
thinking
it
like
in a
shredded
ball.
Coke cans.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just
shredded-
some
shredded
shredded
Coke
Coke
shredded
cans.
Coke cans and like just twisting them. Yeah. No, it was definitely you could definitely make out the action a little more, and it was emotional. And
Well,
And you cared.
and they took the time, they took the opportunities to do the cliched things and did not do the cliched things.
oh yes,
Like there's the scene with the girl jumping off the cliff, and she decides she's like, "No, f this, I'm not going to jump off."
Yeah.
And then they do the cliche thing eventually. But anyway, it was a fine film.
yes. I hope they'll follow up with more Transformers.
Did it make money?
It didn't make a ton of money.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
I
is
think people
wrong
were
with
burned
you
out.
people?
I don't. It wasn't
look-
because of the Michael Bay draw, but I think people were just burned out.
you
and
watch
maybe a
those
little
Marky
too
Mark
little.
ones?
I only watched one of them.
They
I
were
didn't see
real
them last
bad.
night.
No, you shouldn't have watched any of them. They were bad.
Yeah. Okay. Other movie news. Bond 25
dun, dun.
is in the works. They've announced the cast. You have, of course, Daniel Craig coming back. You
Really?
also have, yeah, he's still Bond.
I thought he was
He
just
had
like,
one more
I'm
on his
done.
contract, man. You
Yes.
can't, you can't break a contract.
You can't
Well,
take a Bond
originally, it was going to
contract.
be Danny Boyle was going to direct it,
God, that would be so good.
but he is not doing anymore. And so Cary Fukunaga, who did True Detective Season 1, he did Beasts of No Country, the Netflix film.
Okay.
And he's done some other films. He's directing it.
That's
and
awesome. I didn't know that.
There's no name for the Bond film.
Do you think that they're going to go dark and gritty again, or you think they're going to Roger Moore it up as a transition to the new Bond?
I got 2 bits of news. I'll tell you why this one I'm excited for.
Jaws.
One, Rami Malek is going to be in it. So Rami Malek
From the USA...
from Mr. Robot
Mr. Robot, yeah.
and Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
The rumor is that he's playing the villain.
That seems right. He has a villain face.
He does have
Yep.
a villain face.
And then Jeffrey Wright's coming back. Always loved
As-
Jeffrey Wright as Felix. Jeffrey
Oh.
Wright from Westworld, and now he's like much more well-known actor.
What was
and
he?
He's not
Which
just
one was he in before?
He
Casino
played
Royale?
Yeah, he was in Casino Royale. He was in 2 of them, but he played the American, the CIA counterpart.
Felix is a long-running character.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So Jeffrey Wright's coming back, and I hope they give him more to do because
Oh, yeah.
he's just
Amazing actor.
yes, super amazing actor. Some other casting. Lashana Lynch. Now I know you haven't seen Captain Marvel yet, but Lashana Lynch
have.
was
Yeah.
the best friend.
Yeah.
She was one of the best parts of Captain Marvel,
She's very good.
and so she's going to be in the Bond film.
Awesome.
Ralph Fiennes is coming back. Naomi Harris, Moneypenny, is coming
Okay.
back. Very good. So you have a lot of familiar. It feels like the proper end. It's going to be the
continuity.
proper continuity. It's going to be probably the proper ending to a Bond film. Bond films, I think, they're outdated. The whole Cold War spy thing is done. There's like. I'm glad they're putting it to an end to give a chance to kind of revamp it whenever they redo Bond again in a couple of years. But they're fun. They're fun films.
It's funny, like the arc on this current generation of Bond movies has been really interesting because like it started off with something that was completely new and really gritty and aggressive and kind of painful to watch at times with Casino Royale, and then like Spectre was almost a return. It wasn't gadgety and campy like a Roger Moore one, but it has that. It did the Mission Impossible. It did the thing that Mission Impossible has since done better.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And didn't Christoph Waltz play bad guys in both of those franchises now?
Probably.
Seems right.
Well, I mean, Austin Powers ruined the idea of them doing anything campy.
I don't know. I think there's a
You can't, because then they're like, oh, they're just,
yeah, maybe.
when you just go like, oh God, we can't,
No, this
or maybe
is-
there's enough space between the one Austin Powers movie, because if you pretend the other ones don't happen, it's great. And now maybe they can kind
It
of.
was Beyonce's first film role.
I know.
Eat that skin.
I watched. Yeah.
Gross.
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Beyonce.
Yeah.
Why did we let this happen?
Well, she had her amazing Netflix
She's
film.
fine.
And
She's gonna be okay.
She had
My
an
wife
amazing
was-
historic Coachella performance last year.
My wife was
Yes.
watching it in the other room while I was trying to work, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was just like watching it like
Yeah.
through the door, and I was like, "This is." I'm like, I have to watch this.
It's
There's
really
a
cool.
1,000
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. And you asked if it was going to be gritty. Well, one indication that it probably won't take itself too seriously, which I think is for the best.
Cast Mike Myers.
No, the film apparently is also going to be co-written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Who wrote?
You may know her best. American audience may know her best as the actor who played the robot in Solo.
Lando Calrissian's love interest.
That's right, exactly.
Okay.
And she's a writer and actor. She wrote the BBC series Fleabag, and her writing is very dry comedy.
Yeah.
I love
Dry
That's
wit.
good. That's a very English voice. That's good.
Yes.
So I'm glad that she was apparently brought in by Daniel Craig, who loved her work and wanted to help make the script a little bit lighter, maybe a little more
You
self-aware.
should watch Fleabag. It's a great show.
Yeah. So that's Bond 25. No name for the film yet, so we'll wait
Maybe they're
for
just going
that.
to call it Bond 25.
Yeah, maybe.
They don't have any more books, right?
Yeah,
they're just making stuff up at this
I
point.
think there's are.
No. I
they done?
thought Quantum.
We haven't done
Solace-
Moonraker again. We can do that.
I mean, look, I'd love a Moonraker too.
Who will be Jaws?
David Bautista.
Okay.
He was already in a Bond film. He was Inspector.
Look, they can put the funny hair on him; it'll work itself out. Jaws needs to be somebody really tall.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a basketball player.
If there was any film franchise that would redo a Moonraker style story, it's gonna be Fast and Furious.
Look, have you seen the trailer for Hobbs and Shaw?
Yes.
I have not seen it
It's
yet.
really good.
I'm sad. I'm sad because the family's beefing, right? Statham, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, they're having fusses. But I think that there's the potential in this trailer to over break beyond the greatest scene in film in the 21st century so far, which is when The Rock stands up. He finds out his people are in trouble. He stands up in the hospital bed. He talks to his daughter. He says, "Baby, daddy's got to go to work," and then flexes a cast off of his arm.
That's right. He is a cavalry.
As the car guy here, I've never watched a single Fast and
Really?
Furious
Oh my
movie.
God, Robbie!
Oh,
And I
here,
feel like there
let me-
needs to be a weekend where I just watch them all and
yes.
tweet them.
Let
but
me
I've
give you
never
a great
seen a
content
single
idea for Engadget.
Yeah.
All right. You should review the Fast and the Furious entire franchise from the perspective of your car fandom.
I feel like
Just
from every
how
movie,
they
I should pick a
drive.
car and drive that car while I'm talking
You could do
about
that.
it.
I think that's
totally.
even better.
Or judge like the moves that they're doing, the drifting moves. Like, would that actually be possible with that car? Would the car
I
that
see
Paul
a
Walker
little-
picked, would that actually beat Vin Diesel's car? What modifications did he make to make that car?
Can you
I
make
see a lot
faster?
of muscle cars
The
doing
muscle cars
things
do the
like
nose up.
doing things in movies. I'm like, oh, that's not gonna happen.
So Robbie, here's the thing. These movies are superhero movies where the two powers are that they're really good at driving and they love their family. That's it. That's the whole movie. They're very good films.
Love their family.
I love my
Love.
family, and I can drive like a
yeah.
mofo.
They would do anything for their family.
All right.
That is exactly how my friend. They're superhero movies. Just watch them like that,
Yeah.
and you'll be fine.
We got two other trailers I want to talk about. New Men in Black trailer is out. It's called Men in Black International.
You think Will Smith's going to do the song for this one?
No, he's not even in it.
It has Valkyrie, though.
It
Tessa
does,
Thompson.
It does have Tessa Thompson. Has two Avengers, Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth. I believe Liam Neeson is also in it, as well
Sounds very
as Emma Thompson, and Rebecca Ferguson plays the villain. So this is the second trailer. It really shows off their chemistry, which we saw in Thor Ragnarok. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Is it Barry Sonnenfeld again, or is somebody else directing this?
It is not. It is F. Gary Gray, who directed the Fast Furious 8. Fate of the Furious.
Fate of the Furious.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm
Yeah.
into that.
That was an opportunity for a segue that I didn't make use of.
Totally
Is that little
whiffed it.
dog going to be in it? The little pug?
Oh,
Because if you're not
Frank?
going to have Will
Frank?
Smith, you might as well have the little dog.
I don't know. I'm sure I'll have worms.
Was the little
worm
dog?
characters,
Yeah, the worms
yeah.
are in the trailer.
Okay.
Was the dog voiced by Joe Pesci or something? Or is that another dog that's voiced by Joe Pesci?
I feel like any of us at this table could probably do the dog.
No, it was not. It was a character actor, Tim Blaney.
oh.
Tim Bland. Hire Tim Blaney.
Yeah,
Give him that-
puppeteer and voice actor.
Get that guy some.
Ooh, he's a
get the guy some
puppeteer.
cheddar.
And who also did the puppeteering for Johnny Five in Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2.
Speaking of Will Smith, though, I'm here.
There you go. Speaking of Will Smith, the trailer for Ang Lee's next film is out, and I've never read the book. Have you read Gemini Man?
No, I've never. I'm not familiar with the brand.
So apparently, it is a great piece. It's a book that's been science fiction story that Hollywood has been trying to adapt for years because it is a classic. I haven't read it, but it is about, I presume, cloning, because you have a special forces, top soldier-like character who has to face off against a younger version of himself.
Oh, snap!
He's being hunted by his clone, and Will Smith plays both parts. You have young Will
Okay.
Smith, 20 years younger, versus the more grizzled Will Smith now. It's like Hollywood feels like, oh, we can do this now. We have the facial
tools.
technology
We have the technology.
I was
to
gonna
youngify.
Gemini Man.
In the lead up to Endgame, Gina and I are going on Friday morning, and she hasn't made it all the way through anything past Thor Ragnarok.
The two films.
So we've been watching Thor. We
Three
watched
films.
We watched Civil War,
Okay.
which opens with young Tony Stark, young Robert
Oh,
Downey,
yeah,
like 80s era Robert Downey Jr. We watched Ragnarok, and then we watched Infinity War. And the thing that she was blown away in all of these was the youngening technology. Is that and the youngening they did on Sam Jackson in Captain Marvel is astounding.
Yeah. Because remember Meet Joe. Wait, what was the one? Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button, yeah.
Because that's when
that was all makeup though.
They did, yeah.
No,
but they
Bud
had
got
him like in the corner, like way off, and
Yeah.
the lighting was like really sort of, yeah.
That was
youngifying.
the
Yeah, the
youngifying.
youngifying.
No, they had CG.
I mean, there was a little CG, but a lot of it was practical.
Yes, and of course, with a social network, since then
Yeah.
they've been able to film one actor playing two roles against each other with use of some body doubling and
Also,
use
the
of.
Parent Trap.
They could do that
Oh,
in
yeah,
Patty
Parent-
Duke show.
That's right.
The Parent Trap was the
If
original.
Patty Duke can do it, anyone can.
Well, the
Come
Lindsay
on.
Lohan one.
No,
The
The
original.
Haley Mills one from
No, the
1967
original one
or
was
something.
was twins, right?
No, Haley Mills was
Really?
one girl.
What?
There's only
one girl. Patty Duke is only one girl.
Yeah, there's only
I
one
did not
Haley
know
Mills.
this. So they just filmed the scene twice and kind
They
of
matted.
composited.
They did a mat. So
Right in the
they
middle, the
sat
camera
in
never
That's why
moved.
the camera doesn't move. Yeah,
They never got close to each other.
yeah.
That's weird.
So they mat
I
and
never
project
knew
only
that.
half, and then reshoot it.
I always assumed those are twins.
Haley Mills was the first special effect, and then she was the junior high school teacher on Saved by the Bell.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Deep cuts, well.
Hey man, that's what I'm here for. Old references.
A couple more bits of pop culture Star Trek news. Now, Picard has started filming. We're all very excited to see the Picard show. But CBS is not stopping there. They've partnered with Nickelodeon to do an animated Star Trek show. And this one is going to be about kids in space.
Kids
in space.
In space.
The show is going to follow a group of lawless teens wandering through the Federation,
Hell yeah.
Lawless
adventuring
teens.
on their own ship.
Are they gonna be
A
skateboarding
derelict
and
Starfleet vessel.
Is this like a
drinking
space
Mountain Dew?
space
This is Picard's worst
Rumspringa?
nightmare.
Yeah, space Rumspringa.
Yeah, I guess so.
Spice Springer.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with the
these
reference.
Amish kids in space just getting wild.
Yeah.
Rowdy.
How they know how to run engineering. It's
Look, the ships just run themselves. Computer,
Hmm.
realign the Jeffries tubes.
Computer, make me a bong.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Look,
old
they have
they're not
apples in
time
space,
traveling
Robbie.
teens. They're all doing
They
calculus.
still need bongs.
Yeah, I
They're
guess.
old school.
The replicator.
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
replicator, just
replicator
makes the
can make
space
them a little
drugs.
bong, and they can I want Maui Wowie from 1984.
Everyone
There you
gets
go.
their own private quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time on the holodeck is is shared equally.
No, who cleans? That's what I.
All the dishes.
Nobody wants to do the cleaning.
No one's done any dishes
Yeah.
the entire time.
Just fire them out the airlock,
Will's not
guys.
talking about dishes.
No, we're just firing them out the airlock, guys. That's what we do.
All right, and
pizza
no
wasn't there.
debut time for that.
What?
But
Like
more
this,
Star Trek.
This is animated though, right?
Animated.
Okay.
Yeah. Nickelodeon, right?
Yeah.
It could be, if it's in a Cartoon Network style animation, then it could be fun.
Like Steven Universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Could be a lot of fun. Feel good news of the week. Lego
Yes.
has announced I don't know if this is a partnership or this is on their own, but the Lego Foundation has released bricks that have Braille.
I thought
on
this was an
them.
awesome story.
Braille using the studs.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So it allows both children and adults to learn Braille as they're building. And they've done something smart. They've printed the words that the Braille is for on the bricks themselves. And
You mean the letters?
yes, on the letters. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So
So it's just 2x3 bricks that have some studs off
Yes.
to make the right Braille letters.
Oh,
It's very clever.
That's amazing.
This is one of those ones that when I saw it the other day, I was like, oh, why? This seems obvious, but it's super good.
Wow.
I think that's really cool.
it is a no-brainer idea.
Yeah.
And I love to see these in the wild in Lego stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one last bit, kind of a little bit of a technology news. You guys listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
I listened to this one yesterday.
Well, you did your preparation.
How'd we do? Was it
I'm
okay?
sorry.
It was fine.
Okay.
Did you
know
listen?
What? They needed more dubstep though.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I thought.
Did you listen? You guys listen to Serial? Like,
Yeah, I listen to Serial,
Yeah,
both.
Serial and some podcasts.
Two serials.
Well, I think Gimlet or Earwolf. Gimlet has a podcast called Reply All.
Yeah, they just got bought by Spotify.
Yes.
Yes.
But they also that show specifically does like some tech support, and this is a car. I want to bring this up because this is an interesting car problem. You can listen to the podcast. I'm not going to do a full spoiler for the podcast. It's a really good production, but basically, one of their listeners dialed in and had a problem with their car, and it's a technology problem and a car problem,
Like car talk.
kind of, but
Click and clack,
technology-wise.
The Tappet brothers.
So the listener listens to podcasts. I know, one of them is right.
Sad.
Yeah. The listener, their listener loves podcasts, loves a ton of podcasts, and plays them on his car via like Bluetooth. Like you can Bluetooth
Using his
play,
Apple CarPlay or his
sure,
Android
whatever.
Auto, whatever.
Yeah,
your
I think he had a
business is.
Mazda, whatever the Mazda has.
Yeah.
And all the podcasts that he listens to plays fine, except for one podcast. And that one podcast is 99% invisible.
Wow.
And when he plays 99% Invisible, the podcast, I don't know if you've heard this podcast. It's a great podcast on design.
I'm Roman Mars.
Exactly. When he plays his podcast in the car freezes up. The center console freezes up after about 10 seconds, shuts down, resets, and then continues freezing again.
This is amazing. What causes this?
Well, you got to listen. I don't want to give. I would love to hear your theories.
I'm going to write down a
as
theory.
Technology people, and Robbie, I would like to hear your theory as a car person. And I'll go through what they did because they found this is interesting as well. But basically, there's speculation ranging from, is this because of the way 99% Invisible encodes their audio?
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe a certain codec or a certain bit rate or certain something in the audio engineering. Is this not like can the car not run this? Or is it actually like the sound of Roman Mars' voice? Like it's like the brown noise for cars makes the car shit itself.
Is he? Are they using a digital interface or an analog interface with the radio?
Digital interface.
Wow. So it's probably something in the ID3 tags. Is my guess. Something it's jacking up the reader and it's crashing the like there's a illegal reference in the percent sign, and that's causing the hashtag reader to bomb out.
Robbie, what's your theory?
That's a good one, actually. But I was thinking maybe there's something that is being pushed audio-wise. There's a note or a series of notes that just happen. Because I'm assuming the podcast starts with the same intro every time.
Yep.
So it's the same intro music or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's something in that is being pushed to the car, and the car's like, oh, we're going into dealer mode. Or I'm being told
you
by
think
the
it's like a
dealer
Captain
or the
Crunch
maintenance.
sitch?
Yeah, it's like Captain Crunch. It's like,
Yeah,
you know,
like the
the
whistle.
2600, you know, yeah.
Your quarter tone.
So there's something, there might be something in the tone that's setting the car into a either a reset mode or a maintenance mode or whatever.
Well, it was one of those cases where this episode of Reply All was super enjoyable. I highly recommend people subscribe to that podcast.
It's a good podcast.
And check it out, especially this episode, because the investigative process they went to try to basically provide tech support for this listener was that they created fake podcasts.
Could they have just called Mazda?
They did.
Okay.
They did. But they wanted to go through the exercise of creating fake podcasts with all different variables from sound quality to file names and put them up and then had the listener download them and try to pipe them out to narrow to the problem. And there was quite a few twists and turns. I will say that where you were leaning toward is closer to what they actually did
Oh, they
solve
figured
this.
it out? Okay.
They figured it out. It is a satisfactory ending. But I will say that in the fake podcast they created, they got some pretty cool people to actually record the fake podcast with them. So Sarah Koenig makes a fake a parody 99% Invisible podcast called 88% Parentheticals. and you can listen to the 2-minute episode where she just rambles off in parentheticals, and it actually is a quite delightful parody.
So Reply All, just in general as a podcast plug, is a absolute, like, it is a... Like they do the kind of reporting that you expect from like high quality NPR shows about stupid internet bullshit, and it's very good.
All right, I'm
If
gonna
you
start
are
listening to
very
that.
online, it is your jam.
If you're a nerd.
This is their episode 140, and the episode name is The Roman Mars Mazda Virus.
Wow.
Okay.
So that popped up, and I had to listen to it, and it delivers. All right, well, let's move on. Oh, before we move on to our next section, I want to thank the other sponsor that makes this podcast possible this week, and that's Ahrefs. Ahrefs is a digital subscription-based software for search engine optimization. If you want to grow traffic to your website, outrank your competitors on Google, and get tons of inbound leads, Ahrefs is a tool you need. Ahrefs is an all-in-one SEO tool set. It does absolutely everything from content research and keyword analysis to technical site audits, rank tracking, and backlinks analysis. Essentially, it gives you all the insights you need to research and monitor your niche, then rank your website on the top of search engines. Ahrefs also just launched the beta for its new Keywords Explorer, rebuilding the whole tool with new technology and adding 9 additional sources of data. You can do keywords research for YouTube, Amazon, Bing, Yahoo. It's for people who love micromanaging their site performance and just want all the data. And Ahrefs has a 7-day trial for only $7. Sign up today at ahrefs.com. That's spelled ahrefs.com. Again, ahrefs.com.
I don't have the music.
No music.
Top tech news.
It's the top tech news
Tech-
with Norm.
Technology news.
Technology.
That's all you get this week for tech news.
Oh, that's what it does?
Yeah, that's how it goes. But because Will didn't have the music to
It's
play
not,
it,
no. It's
We
your
all sang
Dropbox
a-
folder. I'm just in your Dropbox folder. It's not there. There's nothing called tech.
We all
news in
sang a song. Just use one.
Yeah, that's right.
I could look. I could play "Hey, Let's Start the Show" or "Moment of Science."
No.
Play ADS Norm Gone. I don't even know what that is.
No.
Intel Chime. There's a bunch of old stuff in here. No, those are all pre-roll ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a very poor. I don't know about this operation.
Fly by night.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk about some car stuff because there's
Okay.
a lot of car news that happened this week, specifically in the Tesla world.
What?
Tesla, most well-known electric car company in the U.S., absolutely. They had two big pieces of news. One was kind of like, actually, I'd say three,
one
right?
of the things I love is that they've been selling cars for years, and they've always said, "Look, if you buy the self-driving package, you're gonna have everything you need
That's right.
to be fully autonomous
Right.
at any point in the future when we flip the switch on that."
Well, it turns out to flip the switch, you need some new hardware.
What?
Womp
Yeah.
womp.
You need their newest hardware.
The hardware is ready. It's a software problem now.
So
according to Elon.
if you paid $5,000 for that full self-driving package, do you just go in and they swap out the thing for you?
They haven't announced, but presumably that is what they will do. It will be easy
Robbie
swapping
made a noise
of the
that
board.
indicates some skepticism. He made
Those are two
skeptical
different-
sounds.
It's a lot of hardware that you have to, yeah, for a company that's not doing well financially to have to support a lot of older hardware is tough.
Yeah, because presumably it's not just a thing you jam out and jam back in,
Yeah,
right?
because you're pulling NVIDIA out and putting your new system in.
They
And that new
indicated
system
the
is
upgrade
built for-
would be
yeah.
possible, but right
Norm Chan, Tesla Model 3 owner
with the old hardware.
with the old garbage.
I know. Well, I actually I don't even know.
Is this going to update your screen too, so it won't crash when you're driving to work?
I hope so. Oh no, this is just for
This
FSD.
is just for self-driving.
Just
Okay.
for full self-driving.
Yeah.
But they developed their own chip for this.
Okay.
They have a formal Apple chip
So they're
engineer.
building
working-
ASICs now in addition to doing cars.
That's right.
That is madness.
And this board has two chips for redundancy.
Redundancy. You got to have redundancy for cars or you'll die.
I mean, look, I'm glad that they're thinking about stuff like that. The space shuttle had 8 computers, and it still blew up sometimes. So
That's true. And also the redundancy argument that they have, especially for this chip, because they have a lot, they have redundancy in the car for power. They have all this redundancy, except for when it comes to sensors, because Elon Musk absolutely hates LiDAR.
Oh yeah, a
And
lot of
it-
lidar shade.
Yeah, a lot
why
of
does he
LiDAR.
hate
shit.
LiDAR?
He thinks
kill his
lidar's a
mom?
crutch.
He think it's
Oh.
redundancy. How about we just say the word redundancy is again when we talk about LiDAR?
Yeah.
Because it adds redundancy, which is why other people are putting it. And he keeps saying how it's expensive, and I'm like, well, yes, it was expensive, but it's getting cheaper, and people are actually putting it on cars now. BMW's putting it on cars, Audi, and to say, well, he's using an argument that's like 3 years old to not put something that costs money onto the car.
To not raise
Well,
the price
and-
of the car, but may add useful redundancy for
Yes.
whatever computer vision stuff
And
that they're using right now.
Also make a lie, presumably, of the, hey, all the cars we've sold since we started offering this self-driving bullshit for $5,000 are gonna
Good
be
enough.
future
Yeah.
upgradable.
Exactly.
So okay, I have questions. Are they running the same software on both of the redundant chips on these things, or do we know? Probably not yet, right?
You mean the old NVIDIA boards and versus
No,
the
no.
new
I
ones?
mean, if they have two redundant systems in the machine and they're both running exactly the same software, presumably they'll both fail in the same way if there's a software fault versus a hardware fault.
correct. Presumably, it's the same software. The redundancy is only in case of hardware failure.
Yeah,
So
so
then-
hardware failure issue.
I would think that they should maybe consider running like one back versions of
Version
software or
like 1
something.
and
I don't know. I don't know.
1.1.
Like right? Yeah.
That would be smart.
Like a safe mode, because they have a safe mode for the batteries and for for the energy. So you have to have. I'm sure they have some sort of safe mode,
Yeah.
but they're not always transparent about what they're doing.
Did you ever read the thing about how NASA wrote the software that operates the space shuttles? I think we've talked about this on one of the podcasts before, but basically they had 8 or 10 redundant computers, some running different hardware, running software that was functionally identical but written by completely different teams, so that the same software bug wouldn't affect all of the machines at the same time. And it seems like if you're in a self-driving car situation where you're putting millions and millions of hours on the road each month, like that's the kind of approach you need to take, not, hey, how fast can we jam this out with the shit we already have?
That's really my concern is how fast can we jam this out? Because right now it looks like the news that led up to their just really pitiful quarterly earnings, what felt like, and it's very easy to say, it was just announced for investors to say, hey, we're going to have some really horrible quarterly earnings coming out in 2 days, but we're totally going to have all this stuff ready to go. And look over here. Yeah, and for drivers, I mean, it sounds cool, but if you talk to any other automaker, you talk to anybody else who works in this space, even the pie in the sky, happy, go lucky, everything's possible startups that 3 years ago were telling me, they're like, yeah, in a few years everyone has stepped back and said, you know what, this is tougher than we anticipated. There are so many variables. And I mean, if Tesla can do it, good on them. But I feel like it's more just sort of smoke and mirrors, and people who have invested in Tesla, who buy Teslas, who deal with Tesla, they've heard the same song and dance from Elon before when it comes to timetables, and it's always disappointing for them.
So like, how does, I mean, I know a lot of the challenge with this is getting miles on the road, like just getting cars out driving. And that's why Google started driving self-driving cars with sensors and stuff like that almost 10 years ago now. Like, how does Tesla fall in terms of miles driven with the sensors active? Like, are they collecting data from all the Teslas that are on the road right now?
They're collecting anonymized data from all the cars, and they're using what they'll do is they talked about cut-ins, which is when a car pulls out in front of you, and they recently updated the software so it handles cut-ins better, and which I rode in one to the Model 3 to Las Vegas, and it did, but all automakers in the last 3 to 4 to 6 months, their cut-ins, their cars are reacting smoother than they were a year ago.
Okay.
So it's that they're not, the only people who are doing this, but what they were talking about on, I believe, was it Monday? Sorry. Was that they were pushing out shadow features. So the car would save the information of what it would have done during this cut-in, and then sends it back to Tesla, and then they validate it, and they say, oh, well, it shouldn't have done that or should have done this. So it does everything but actually implement what the car would do in a cut-in, and then they use that to make their features better, which I think is smart.
So presumably you could have a safety feature roll out at some point in the future. It's like if somebody cuts you off, the car will jam on the brakes faster than you can respond.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that already happens to some extent.
Okay.
People swerving
because everyone's looking at their phone.
Yeah.
Look, man, my phone is really interesting, Robbie.
But what they're doing is they're trying to understand the what people want to do, and that's something. If you ride a motorcycle, or a scooter or a bicycle on busy streets, you end up getting this. And I don't want to say it's a sixth sense, but you end up understanding behaviors that people who are more likely than not to cut in front of you will do, like how they drive. So when I'm riding, I have a Vespa that I ride around the city, and I review motorcycles. And when I'm riding, I'm like, okay, that person is more likely to cut in front of me than this person. And it's almost subconscious.
Is it like they're weaving a little bit in the lane?
Yeah, it's just this little itty bitty, like the way they're driving. And so they're trying to figure that out with cars, with AI, which is, great if you could figure it out, but it's also very, very difficult.
Getting clean data is going to be
Getting
hard.
clean data, because in addition to looking at the car, I'm looking at wheels. I'm also looking at that rear view mirror, that side mirror. If someone isn't looking at that, and
you're not seeing eyes.
Yeah, you're not seeing eyes.
And that's not something that these cameras can detect.
Yeah, there's so much sort of intuition that you build up as a driver that you don't even realize, and to say, well, it's just a software problem. We can fix it. And by the end of this year, we're going to have full self-driving cars in all situations, which is, to me, is like...
He said that?
Yes.
Wow.
They will not be geofenced. And he said that they would work in a dense urban area like San Francisco and New York.
That's bonkers.
That's way too ambitious. I wish they would qualify that. I think most people
Did he
would
clear
be
this
happy.
with the board before he made the tweets?
I mean,
this is what he said at the event.
Oh, okay.
He stood up and he had his very smart people come out and say the things they're going to say, and then he would stand up and say, like...
And maybe that's for investors. Like, I think practically for people who own these cars and people are looking to buy these cars in the next 12 to 24 months, they would be happy if the full autonomy worked just in the freeways. And that's even a big jump. That would be totally satisfactory. People like taking control. You don't need the robot taxi.
It's the worst driving is commuting.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can solve that problem 95%, 99% confidence, that's a big selling point. You don't need the headline of full autonomy in urban dense environments.
I mean, this is so, phone camera quality place where if you overpromise and underdeliver, it's not great, but it doesn't
It's
kill
like,
people.
Oh well, I
Yeah.
couldn't get the portrait mode to work as well as I like.
Overpromising and underdelivering with this kind of thing could destroy this company.
Yeah, and
Like
that's,
if they kill a few people with the cars, that's
Well, they
super
also have
bad.
big concerns. The thing that might destroy the company right now is the market and competitors coming up. And I'd love to hear, Robbie, from you what you think of the other competitors, because we don't know a lot about what electric cars are coming out in the next 2 years. But also, they sold a lot of Model 3s last year. They made a profit on the previous quarter, but it turns out they didn't sell a lot of Model S or X's at all because people were kind of
buying Model
happy
3s.
buying. Maybe they mispriced it. Maybe it was too good of a deal, and people didn't want to spend $100,000 on the other car, and so they had to bump up the range, and they found ways to optimize that, and maybe that will move the needle. But is the market ready to make them compete on the same level as an ICE?
It's also kind of unclear if there's an upgrade cycle for these cars.
Well, he's been very adamant that the cars don't get upgrades like typical ICE vehicles or really any other automaker, because everyone, I mean, the Chevy Bolt, the Chevys, eventually that will get an updated version,
A new body,
a
and
new
better
body,
batteries,
this and that.
the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it'll get the whole thing. And Tesla is very much, we just make, we can make software updates, and there'll be iterative changes like to the hardware and stuff like that. But your car will evolve in your parking space, which is great because that's something that wasn't happening before Tesla. But that's great for current owners.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the cars and you're like, well, here's a car that's been out for 5 years, 6 years, or for a Model S, and you're like, well, BMW has this, and Jaguar has this, and Audi has this.
So they're not
and
making the big changes.
yeah. So when you're and that's automakers know, there's a 3 to 5 year cycle for a car, and then you make some changes because people want something new.
But
And if you just keep, and if we had the same, Porsche's not a good example because Porsche's kind of all look, they have
all
that
still
they have that design language and they're sticking to it.
yeah, they're either bad or they look like Porsches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want an F-150, the new F-150, you're like, damn, that looks like it's ready to like tear down a building compared to the generation before. So you're like, what, I'm gonna buy that.
Yeah, it has it written on the front,
It's
real
huge.
big. You can't miss it.
Like the letters are as tall as a toddler,
Yeah.
and you're like, that's what I want, toddler-sized letters.
In that market, right? In the space where people are spending 6 figures on a car, the new and shiny on the outside goes a long way.
It does.
And those kind of subtle revamps to say that the one you bought this year is better than the one that your neighbor bought last year, that's a big selling point. It
is a
shouldn't be,
huge sell-
but it's all emotion based.
No one buys cars based on logic.
I mean, but however, that said, there's a thing that happened, and over the Prius is a good example of this. So when the Priuses came out in the early 2000s, they looked like cool future cars,
They did, and then they got ugly.
and then they got real ugly within like 4 or 5 years, and now they're like down there with the Yaris and the Ugo cars at the low end of the range, and I think, I mean, the thing that happens is like the first Model S that rolled off the line still looks like the brand new Model S. The
They
only
changed
thing
the
that's
front.
changed is the colors, and the grill has changed a little bit.
They got
and
rid of the
stuff like
fake
that.
grill.
Yeah, but which is a good change.
Yeah.
But like I like the idea. They don't change the way the iPhone looks every year. I understand. I think this idea of having a constant design language across the life of a model. So maybe the Model T, which probably is already taken by somebody, I don't know.
I'm sure that's fine.
But like when they replace the Model S, I assume it will be with a new sedan that has an entirely new design language that's designed to last for 10 or 15 or 20 years or however long seems appropriate. But I mean, I don't know.
It's
We're
they
not
have
territory.
they have the Model Y, which is their crossover, which is I think
Like a small X, basically.
A big three. Think of it as a tall three.
So the Model X was cool, look at it. But those doors, like, just
They're
kind
a
of they
boondoggle.
hose. Yeah, they were boondoggle. They hosed Tesla because they were difficult to engineer. They had delays. People who bought them had to bring them back. It's just it's a lot of money. And then there are people who just wouldn't buy that car because of those doors. Because
Well-
I don't want to wait 10 seconds to get in and out of my car.
Also, 120 grand for an SUV that's built on a sedan chassis is a lot.
Yeah. So The Model Y, I almost feel like the Model Y should have come out before the Model 3 because the market wants crossovers. And that's where Hyundai and Kia and BMW and Jaguar and everyone else who's making these electric cars, they're all going with crossovers and SUVs because that's where the market is.
Storage.
The sedan market is just keeps going down and down. And it might rebound in a few years as people change, what they want to do. But it's unlikely because the crossovers and SUVs, the smaller ones, drive as well as a car now.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I have all this utility. I can just shove all the stuff in the back of this. It's a little bit taller, so it's easier for me to get in and out, especially as I get older.
Or car seat kids.
Yeah, and you have car
it's nice
seats.
having
Yeah,
a high
yeah.
car.
If you have if you have children, like I've got to lean down and like crutch. If I can just like stand up like a regular human
Just
and put my
lean.
kid in and not hurt my back, that's a
I mean-
selling point.
I mean, it seems like everything that they've done so far has been with supply chain in mind. In the same way that Apple started with the iPod because they wanted to get the price of screens and flash memory down, right? So that they could eventually get to the point that the iPhone would cost $600 instead of $2,000. It seems like they started with the Roadster so they could get battery capacity and electric motor capacity up, and then they did the S, which was a high dollar premium product, so they could get more battery capacity and figure out the manufacturing stuff. And it seems like you don't want to go mass market until you've scaled that whole supply chain and built that giant Fremont factory out.
Gig battery factory.
The master plan, Elon Musk's master plan, is actually a very good plan. We make high-end cars that we sell to rich people, and so we can figure out how to make a car that, an electric car that everyone can buy.
Yeah, let the expensive people bootstrap us.
But then Elon and Tesla kept creating their own roadblocks. We're going to make the alien dreadnought, the machine that builds the machine, which everyone told don't do
What's
that.
I missed that one.
So the idea was that the car line would be almost entirely automated.
Oh, right.
It would just be autonomous. You
feed
feed
aluminum
it, you
in one
feed it
end.
bits, and then
Yeah.
cars come out the other end. And everyone who builds cars and who's building cars for decades, and people that he hired who had built cars for decades, were like, you can't do that. He's like, no, we're going to do that. You're like, no, you really can't do that. There's all these variables, all these things you need actual humans to take care of. No, we're going to do that. And then after just wasting money for 8 months to a year,
They did that.
there was the mea culpa. He's like, yeah, we couldn't do that.
Okay.
After everyone tells you, and
Well, I mean,
the frustration for people who work for work under Elon and then quit makes it difficult for Tesla to hire equally talented people as it goes forward. Even if Elon is going to be less of a micromanager, if you work for Ford and you work for 3 decades on the Ford Fusion line, and you know what you're doing, if you talk to these other executives, and everyone in the industry talks, and they're like, I didn't have a good time there because he micromanaged and he didn't let me do my job, you're not going to leave Ford to go work for somebody who might not let you do your job.
yeah, that's right. Well, and especially since he seems fairly distracted these days, digging holes and going to space,
Going to
and all the other
space
things. Yeah.
Well, he's pretty hands off with space, and that's other than
worked out
tweets,
okay.
and that's working out great. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's
So let's hear about some of the alternatives then, because you've surveyed the landscape for electric cars, and you say you've driven like even the Jaguar I-Pace, and so I know the markets are very different for U.S. and for Asia, where there are a lot of electric car companies and even cars on the market that you can buy. But let's talk about U.S. What's coming out for people in the next year or two that they can look forward to that will be an alternative to something like a Model 3 or Model Y?
So for Model 3 and Model Y, it is very odd for me to say this, but Kia and Hyundai are killing it. They're literally that automaker partnership, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it. They are killing it with their electric crossovers. We have I did a review of the Kona EV. The Kona, the ICE version, the internal combustion version, is a good car. The Kona EV is a better car. It is a fun car to drive. I drove the Kia Soul EV in Korea for a day. That is I like the Kia Soul. It was one of those cars that I got into, and I'm like, this car is gonna suck.
Yeah, I've rented those before.
And then you drive,
I had
like
the same
you're like,
reaction.
wow, this is a fun little car.
I can't believe this Kia doesn't suck.
Yeah. So the Kia EV Soul is an amazing little car. The Kia Niro EV, I haven't driven it, but someone at work has. I'm waiting to get a review in. He liked it. It's not as fun as the Kona. That's basically what I've figured out.
And so these are basically cars that have both versions, where they can amortize the R&D and the design for having an ICE version, which they know is going to sell in a certain part of the world or even in the U.S., and then roll out. They don't need to make 7,000 of these a month. They can roll an EV version that is even better, and they're in that like under $40,000, gets you 250 miles.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
is this like 250 miles is the standard now? Like the old 75-mile Leafs are gone.
It's funny because Tesla set the precedent. They set the precedent for a $35,000 car that gets over, like say, over 225.
Okay.
They set that precedent, and then they have difficulty actually meeting it because the Model 3 is a very expensive car to build because you're a new automaker. You don't have the resources and you don't have the experience of building a lot of cars and able to, quickly retool, and then that's quickly is very relatively speaking.
Well, quickly for a car manufacturer.
Yeah, for a car manufacturer, retool your a line for an electric car. When I went to GM and watched them build Chevy Bolts, and they were building ICE cars and Chevy Bolts on the exact same line. And they're like, well, if we need more Chevy Bolts, we could just make some more Chevy Bolts.
Yeah.
Which Tesla can't do, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean they tool they have lines tooled for each car, right?
Yeah.
It's really fascinating because like you look at that and you think, oh, okay, the Model X and the S are built on the same chassis, so they should be able to just one car is an X, one car is an S, and the bodies come off of the different lines or whatever, but they don't work that way.
It's just very different. It's not easy. It's hard to build one car.
Yeah.
You can do it if you have a lot of money, but it's hard. It's impossible to scale that. And that's what Tesla has been running into every year with every new car. And, they've been they've been overvalued, which has really been bad for them
It means that when they need to raise money, it's really hard.
Yeah. So it's been difficult for them. They've made a lot of decisions that have hurt them. They have instead of listening to the rest of the industry and saying, hey, we know, you're doing this thing, but there's still traditional ways you need to actually achieve this. And, Elon Musk no, we're doing it
They've
our way.
disrupted.
Yeah, they've over-disrupted, and it's hurt them. And it's hurt them, really badly, especially with delays. I mean, I have friends who, as soon as the Model 3 was announced, they put down that deposit. And then 2
People in
years
this room.
later. Yeah, and then 2 years, a year later, they're like, where is this car? And they're like, you know what? Fine. And they need a car.
Yeah.
I need a car now. I'm not going to wait 2 years or 3 years or however long it takes for me to get the car that I actually want. So I'm getting my deposit back, which is there's more than enough. Yeah, there's been more than enough cases of people having difficulty getting their money back and buying something else, whether it be a hybrid or an EV or just an ICE car, because they just need a car.
Well, I mean, the thing is, even though Tesla's raised billions of dollars at this point, it's still like that's practically nothing compared to the cost of starting up a fully fledged car manufacturer. Like it's not like starting up a software company. There's a lot of capital expense and a lot of people, and like they have 4,000. Like the room with the engineers at the Tesla headquarters in Fremont is as long as the factory and filled with desks full of people. Like it is unbelievable the number of people that work there.
So my question is, how does this bode for other car startups who are working on autonomous cars or EVs? If they're not going to have that capital, they may have, a couple $100 million. Like, is there no promise for them?
I think, when you look at the companies like Rivian, I think Rivian's been smart because they want to build their truck, but they also want to build cars or vehicles, electric something for other people. And they just got an investment from Ford. And this is after they decided not to do an investment with GM, because if they had done something with GM, it would have been an exclusive deal with them. And they want to be able to build for other people, and they have money from Amazon, they have money from Ford.
So these are companies that are going to work not just they work B2B and not just direct to consumer, and make a lot of their money building specialized vehicles or specialized technology that they can license or subcontract and build a business that way.
Yeah, so it's the ability to sort of supplement your income with something that makes money, so you could make that cool electric truck. So the 4,000,
which will always be a niche.
Which would it's not going to be this huge thing. It's an electric truck has to appeal to someone who's a first adopter and uses a truck. which
So it's a sub
yeah,
brand.
it's a weird little thing because truck people are very, the people who roll coal, they're driving trucks. They're not driving, Honda Accords.
What's your electric coal rolling equivalent? You have like a fireworks on the roof.
I guess
or
you just have
something?
like a Tesla coil and it
Yeah.
just shoots out at other cars.
That's no. I mean, I assume that a lot of the end for those smaller companies is that they're hoping to either get bought or to have like co-manufacturing deals with Ford, like Ford and Mazda used to do, where Ford manufactures cars that are labeled with their label using their technology on their lines and stuff like that.
Yeah,
in exchange for a Ford branded version of that same drivetrain.
It's a bit like Waymo. Like I wasn't sure, like what is the end game? For a while I was like, what is the end game for Waymo?
You pay Google.
What do you do?
$200
Because
a month
everyone,
and you get a car that picks you up when you
because
need it.
most automakers were already working on. They already, everyone's like, oh, autopilot. Well, Jaguar invented the adaptive cruise control like in the 90s. So that's not anything that's new. Like lane keep assist isn't really anything that's new. They basically took Bosch hardware and turned it up to 11 and like ta-da. But everyone else in the industry, because they've been around for decades and they have lawyers and they know they have been very careful about this. But with Waymo, I was like, what is their end game? And then you're like, oh, Honda hasn't really done much in this area. They've lagged behind. Chrysler hasn't really done much in this area. They've lagged behind. So now they have this partnership. So I think a lot of these, the Lucids, and I don't know about Faraday Future, but companies like Lucids and Rivian, they're looking for that sort of partnership or deal or cash infusion from someone. We're like, hey, we're making this thing. We will make it for you.
And then in the Asian market, for a lot of like Chinese car companies, with maybe fewer regulations on what they can experiment with and do, and like it's Wild West there.
It is. I don't know if it's the Wild West, but I sat in a tiny electric car that was, it was smaller than the Smart.
Ooh. Wow.
It was like a little, just kind of cruise around. That was built in a factory that didn't exist 10 months before.
Oh my goodness.
And the gentleman I was talking to, who from that company, just kept saying China fast.
Yeah,
China fast. I'm like, what is it? He's like, China fast. I'm like, you just broke ground 10 months ago? He's like, China fast.
I mean,
So they can move so much
Yeah.
quicker when it comes to building, permits, getting factories up, tooling, like all this stuff, which I drove that car in a building, like in a circle. So it wasn't like I drove it on the street or anything, because they ended up not ever making the car. They decided to pivot to something else because China fast. And
Got the name of this podcast.
but I was like driving it around. I'm like, you just built this? And,
Wow.
the ability to move quicker. And, as the middle class grows in China, you have to sign up for a lottery to get a license for your car. You can't just get an ICE car and drive it. You sign up for a lottery, and then if you win, you get to drive the car, unless it's an EV.
Oh, and then you can just buy it.
They can just buy a car. So
because it's all about growth and
Look,
being on top of the world in one industry.
You talk about your government incentive.
yeah, it's
Right.
just like you can't buy. Yeah, you can buy your ICE car, but you might not be able to drive it. But if you buy this car, if you buy the Neo, whatever, Neo is one of the
Juices
they call
the
it the
economy.
Tesla of China. If you buy this Neo, you can drive that whenever you want.
Wow.
Yeah. And all you do is make it as prestigious as having a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're seeing less and less of the sort of copycatting that you saw before, because you would just look at it and like, well, that's a Land Rover,
Yeah.
that's the Mercedes, that's a BMW, I mean everything, and you're seeing less and less in that over there as these automakers are learning and coming up with their own brand and becoming their own self.
You're starting to see more of a design style
Yeah.
in a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that's coming out of China rather
Yeah.
than just knockoffs.
Yeah, which is really nice, because I mean it's the ability to move as quickly as they are over there, especially in the EV field, is really good for us, because any mistakes they make over there, we can learn from.
Have you seen the videos of the apartment buildings that go up in like 3 days?
I've seen the bridges built in like 30 minutes or something.
They prefab each floor and then bring them in on trucks and then just stack them up on top of each other and bolt them in. It's bananas. Crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, you can always follow more of Robbie's car coverage on Engadget, and there's a lot of good car coverage. I read it all the time just to find
thanks,
out what's going on, and also like Oh, yeah, that's Robbie. I know him. He likes cars.
I know that guy.
We know Robbie.
Speaking of, we're going to go through the rest of technology news quite a bit quickly because we're running short on time a little bit. But we wondered what's the deal with Waymo, what's Google doing with these experiments and these kind of these moonshot spin-ups. And there is another subsidiary of Google that is becoming a real business now. So Wing, which is their drone company, Wing Aviation, has now been certified by the FAA and Department of Transportation to start making deliveries. This is their drone company that does basically VTOL style. So it goes up and then it can fly long distances, kind of glide. So up like a traditional quadcopter style and then fly long distances. And they're going to be working in Virginia doing some consumer deliveries in rural areas. Not flying over people, but this is one step closer to that future we're all promised like 5 years ago with drones making deliveries.
The burrito deliveries.
That's right. Just not in big cities, in places where it's tough and more maybe really expensive to get a FedEx or UPS truck out there.
Yeah, I wonder if does it land or does it drop it with like a little parachute?
I don't know.
Either it's a robot arm.
I think
it's like a skyhook.
Skyhook.
It lowers it down on a claw.
So it's the VTOL style. It will start to hover and then that's cool. Yeah.
And then you can grab it like True Lies and hold.
No tornadoes. Yeah.
I mean, I assume if there's a tornado. I feel like I've seen video of this. It might be on the X page, on the Google X page.
But good for them, and really, we saw them at Maker Faire a couple of years ago. And it's really cool to see those experiments really take off, so to speak. Okay, Samsung phones. I know they're boring, but we have some new tech in phones and maybe even
I
other
don't
devices.
think this phone is boring. This phone sounds too exciting.
Hey, it is future tech.
It is the least boring phone that's been out in about 5 years.
And it may be indicative of other devices using this foldable OLED technology. Samsung, a leader in foldable OLEDs, as promised.
FOLEDs.
There we go. Another name for this podcast. Foldable displays in all sorts of devices, including their Galaxy Fold, $2,000 phone that folds in half and maybe doesn't fold quite well.
Pre-orders today.
Well, nope.
Wait, what?
They've delayed the launch of this phone, even though they've sent out the review
but why,
units.
Norm? Why would they delay the launch of a phone this close to the end?
Many of the review units,
4 of them, I believe,
have now folded to a point where they don't work.
Folded loose of this mortal coil.
Yes. Yeah. The creases are there, and I think it's because they went with a flush fold design. Like they gave no radius on the inner lip.
So. From what I read, there were a couple of different ways that they failed. Some seemed to get stuff inside the hinges, underneath the screen, so there's a little bit of a bump. Mm-hmm. And then when you fold it out flat, then that bump would break the back of the screen, and then you'd have a dead stripe in the middle of the screen.
That's not good.
Some of the reviewers took off the top layer of the screen.
Plastic layer.
Which, like, if you buy any device that has a screen, like, you naturally
first thing you do.
It's so satisfying, except when it breaks your phone.
Yeah, then it killed the phone. Some of them seem to have had, like, if they were dropped on the hinge, that seemed to cause problems.
Yikes.
So it seems like I kind of read these reviews and they probably sent out 30, 50, 100 phones and 4 of them died publicly within hours of receiving them.
Within hours, which means within a week.
Yeah. So like you wonder how this one. Like, I mean, I guess this is from the same people that brought you the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, the phone that you're reminded not to bring on the airplane every time you get on an airplane for most of 2016 or 2017. I can't remember. But anyway.
I mean, people were worried about durability for sure. Right?
Yeah.
And Samsung tried to address that. There was that video. It showed them, here's our robot folding this phone, hundreds of thousands of times.
Did they put it in a pocket with some lint in between those folds?
Nope.
Oops.
Whoops. Robots don't have a lot of lint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they don't have a a lot of receipts and stuff they carry around.
The clean room fold test, maybe not the most reliable.
Well, you know what you can do? There's like tumblers that you can put things into weather.
Not anymore. It's all porn. It's gone on Tumblr now.
No. Like physical tumblers.
Oh, like the Batman
motorized devices, the chambers that you can put rocks in, and then they clean and polish.
And they make a rock polisher.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a rock polisher.
Yeah.
You could put a phone in there
with a bunch of lint.
Receipts and business cards and
some
lint,
coins,
and use that as a way to stress test
keys.
and weather and keys. Yeah. And that would be a fine test.
Yeah, they didn't do that though.
They didn't do that.
No.
I don't think they did that.
So what are they doing? How are they going to go ahead and sell these things anyway for $2,000?
I don't know if
they've delayed it.
They've delayed it.
Indefinitely delayed it.
The problem with indefinite delay is that they already planned on selling. Guess how many that they expected to sell this year? Not a billion. There aren't even
500.
that many.
7,000. Oh, wait, hold on.
6,900.
1.25 million.
420 million.
They plan on selling 1 million of these.
Ah, was closest.
That was nice.
I
Good
win.
job. Price is right rules.
Ding ding.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
that's a small percentage of like smartphone market, and even like that's maybe less than 10% of how many notes were sold last year. But that's still a lot of phones
For a $2,000 phone.
For a $2,000 phone. Who? What?
That's
I
$2 billion
used that.
of revenue.
I played with that phone when
Really? Was it
Engadget
cool?
got it. It was kind of cool, but I was like, oh, this is not
Did
going to
yours
last.
break? Did their break?
I don't know if
break?
it broke.
Oh.
I was when I was in New York for the auto show.
Oh, man.
They brought it into the office and I was opening it, and I liked the tiny little screen on the front
Yeah.
because I like small phones. Like I'm still rolling my 6S mostly because of audio port, because
Yeah.
music
You
stuff.
got the analog hole.
Yeah, I got the analog hole. And I was like, oh, does it have an audio port? They're like, no. I'm like, oh, never mind. But
Garbage.
it was kind of cool because you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. But it felt like any moment, like if I sneezed on it.
So where do you see foldable displays? Like, is that a dead technology, or does it have practical
No, it's
application?
coming. Look, it's material science. There's two great venues for material science: hair product and foldable screens.
Yeah.
That's where all the work is going these days.
Okay.
A foldable
Yeah.
screen phone still seems kind of cool because I'm going to go out and buy an iPad mini.
Like
So I can
7-inch
do
iPad?
like
That's
the
like
little-
the size
little-
of this thing.
Yeah, which
Basically,
yeah,
yeah.
it's because
But you
of the
can't fold it
audio
in half.
port. I can't fold it in half, but I need
But
it
you can.
for like music stuff
Sure.
and for
It bends at
traveling.
least.
It's light. I
Does
have
it have an analog hole?
it has an analog hole.
Nice.
It's still got the thumbprint thing.
Yeah.
So I don't have to like stare at it to
Yeah.
I
which
mean,
is less of a problem.
I'm
but-
sure manufacturing will get better, but there is still like the physics of like this is still a
Physics.
film, right?
Yeah.
Like a display. At some point, you should not be folding it on a heavy crease
That's 20th century thinking, Norm.
Yeah.
You got to think like 21st century.
hundreds or thousands of times
What would-
if you expect the user to unfold it and see it as one clear display. I understand if you like have a line there and say it will always be two displays and no
So you're
seam,
saying they should just have a
bezel-less.
long notch.
like a tiny,
yeah, like
a hinge,
or
a
you know,
pivot
vignette of
point,
right there that
super
where
tiny that you just sort of deal with when you're trying to watch a movie and there's a line right through Thor's face.
I mean, do people really want to use a phone with a square aspect ratio? Or
Not really. I
isn't the benefit more having like multitasking?
I'll be honest. The best part of this whole story is that the review units died almost immediately. like a $2,000 phone is ludicrous.
Yeah.
Like especially it was a pretty thick phone when it's folded.
Yeah,
right?
you could hurt somebody with it. It felt like
Yeah.
a baton. I was
Yeah.
like, this is hefty. You could kill a man with this. I
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, so
and then it broke, and I was like, well, it's still a good weapon.
yeah, so like it seems like, I mean, this reminds me a lot of like those. Remember in 2010, 2011 when everybody's making weird janky phones that had like a neat concept that was executed poorly. This firmly fits in that category for me, right? It's like this is gonna undoubtedly like 10 years from now we're gonna look back and be like, oh yeah, remember that one? That was the first one. It was bad, but it was it
was fun.
And
Who
I think
owns one?
I think that's where we are with this.
Someone's gonna sell it on eBay in 5 years for $50,000.
Yeah,
the
'cause there will only be one prototype
because
that
they've
they
never
didn't return.
folded it. It's just like I still have this. Here you go.
Right, the resale
never
market,
folded.
Maybe it keeps the hinge keeps track of how many times it's been folded.
Well, oh god, you have you have 30 folds left. Use them wisely. The funny thing about this to me is that also everybody in their reporting posted the reviews before they announced that they were indefinitely postponing the launch, and then they had to come back and be like, "Well, Samsung came and collected the phone from us."
Oh boy.
I mean, obviously there are always short-term loans, but like when somebody had one die, somebody hand delivered a fresh one within like 6 hours in some cases. I think it is. I can't imagine. Either Samsung knew this was going to happen and like they had to release it anyway, or they didn't expect this to happen and scrambled really, really well. Because I can't imagine what a nightmare it was for the poor people working on the PR marketing media side.
You're at home and all here's
Yeah,
who is it? Samsung.
we've got we know you have the phone in there. Come out
Now,
with your folds closed.
does the DS style two screens, is it practical?
No thanks.
Is it useful?
I'll take one screen. I'm old school.
It's
I mean, remember the Kyocera Echo? Like
No.
people have
No,
put Yeah, exactly, right? People have been trying to put two screens on a phone with for multitasking purposes, for digital keyboard purposes, for all sorts of purposes. Remember the Microsoft Courier? The
Well,
thing
they
that
never
never
actually
launched.
made
It never
it.
came
Oh,
out,
yeah.
but the whole idea was like a tablet with
two
two
screens.
screens.
You know what I want? I want the phone. I want the phone dock that looks like a laptop. That Motorola thing, Moto X,
Oh, yeah,
Atrix.
Atrix. That's it.
and then you can.
I
use
want
it as
that, but with a
computer.
good phone.
Well,
Yeah, that phone wasn't very good.
the processors are good enough now,
Yeah, they should be.
right?
Macs are going to be ARM next year, probably.
Yeah, and then
They got to have room for more bad keyboards.
yeah. All right, last bit of technology news. Hey, do you like buying stuff from Amazon?
Sure.
Do you
Why
like
not?
making Amazon returns?
No.
No.
I just keep it and throw it in the trash in a few months.
Yeah, here's the box, and then I put it in the box, and then it just sits on the counter for a few months, and then they say, hey, we're going to charge you the $3 because you never sent that back. But if you do send it back, we'll probably give you $3.
If you complain enough, if you complain the right way, they're just like, you know what? Just dispose of this yourself.
Customer's always right.
Yeah.
It's better for the customer to be happy.
Yeah.
Retain that loyalty.
Hey, you sent the wrong thing. I ordered an iPhone and you sent me a box of dog food.
What's
They're like, well, you can keep the dog food.
Is there a Tumblr for or a medium Tumblr for like biggest Amazon mistakes that they've made in shipping?
I can just
Or
send you
thing
my
you've
order history, buddy.
Right. Well, if you're going to make returns to Amazon, they have now partnered with Kohl's,
Oh,
and where you could drop off the thing that you want returned to Kohl's, and they'll package it up and send it back.
that's nice.
But then I have to go to Kohl's.
Does it cost anything?
I never
Well,
go
in
to
some
Kohl's.
place, it does not cost anything.
Does Kohl's just keep
They
the
just
stuff?
want you in the Kohl's.
Yeah.
Kohl's will do it
Wow.
because they
This
want
is a
you in
trick.
Kohl's.
It is a trick.
Is
Because they're
it-
like a Ross, right?
It's
Kohl's is like Ross.
I feel like it's closed.
I've been into Kohl's once,
I've been
and that
to
was a
once,
pick
twice.
up and order my mother-in-law bought
Wow.
because it's a Midwestern thing.
Yeah.
And not really a
Who doesn't love
a Bay
Kohl's?
Area thing. I think the nearest
There's
Kohl's
one
is
in
like in
South City.
There's one in
South
Colma.
City,
Yeah.
Colma.
Yeah,
right.
the one there by my house.
Right. Yeah.
I-
yeah. But in a lot of places in America, Kohl's is a very popular place, and it's accessible, and it's maybe more convenient than having to package something up and drop it at a UPS store.
Kohl's feels like the place you go back to school shopping. Like when you're in like 7th grade, you need some cool clothes. You go down to Kohl's, you get a fresh pair of Levi's,
Some new kicks.
and like a. I mean, in my day, it would have been like a Deep Purple concert tour T-shirt, but now it's probably like Nirvana, Nevermind or something like that.
Something old, cool.
Yeah.
For the kids.
Is Kohl's keeping the stuff, or are they actually sending it?
They're
Like,
actually sending it back.
Oh, they are?
They have a partnership with Amazon where they will package it. They have boxes.
Because
Okay.
then
got
the
tape.
Amazon truck just goes to one spot at the end of the day. Give me all your junk.
I kind of want to buy one of those crates of Amazon returns, because you can just buy like a Amazon, like a big giant
No, you
truck.
can't.
Like a
full of
storage
returned
unit? Just full-
Amazon
like
shit.
No,
you
you
don't know what it is?
can't.
Yes,
No.
this is a thing that they do.
Did you read this on Twitter? Is this what?
No, this maybe. I mean, but there was an actual article about this.
Wait, so like it's like the Woot bag of crap.
It's like the Woot bag of crap, but it's just a
Returned
bunch of shit people
Amazon?
return to Amazon.
Is there a set price or is there an auction?
I have no idea how it works.
Okay, I don't think this is true.
I'm gonna look it
it
up
up.
Because I got $20 in my pocket. And
It's
there's
more
like
than
an
that.
auction. I can just go and like, what did I get? And it's, trash. I'm like, well, at least I tried. At least I have these boxes for my cat.
Buying Amazon return pallets in liquidation auctions. There are plenty of ways to buy merchandise that you can flip later, resell on flea market or your store, or even online. But no matter what you are buying, it seems that nowadays the margins for profit are slim and barely make your time and effort worth it.
So you got to pay a lot.
Prices are way below wholesale. Keeps you stock. Not every liquidation, so you have to do research. This seems like a bad page that I'm on. Oh, why are Amazon return pallets good for my business? The products they sell are of respectable quality. That's not true. I killed a motherboard with a thing I bought from Amazon last week.
Wow. All right, that is it for technology news. Will, we got one last segment coming up. Can you play the VR Minute intro?
The VR Minute. Virtual reality this week.
Virtual reality
There's an
this
old
week.
Was that guy? Was that guy from the
radio?
past?
That was Norm.
Was there
me.
like a time tunnel and he just yelled through it?
Look, these things happen.
We were going to keep it short this week because all anticipation and all speculation leads
All
us
Labo.
to. That's right. It is all
Labo
Labo.
all the time. That's the future of VR.
Well, I'm going to get with the speculation first. Next week is Facebook's a big developer conference, F8 of the Furious.
The fate of the Zuck.
And everyone expects that there will be some news about the release date or maybe even launching next week for the Oculus Quest. So, and
Who knows?
So it'll be a lot of apology and then, here's something shiny.
Well, I'm looking
Like,
forward
we're
to
sorry
something
about
shiny.
democracy and Western civilization, but also
Shiny.
Shiny. Give me, take my monies.
they
Take
did
my
announce
monies.
Google's putting Tilt Brush on the Quest, though, right?
That is, yeah. So
That's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I think having used the Quest at OC5 and some of a lot of the ports, like, played Super Hot, that was good. and they had some original stuff. Face Your Fears. I really love the sports scramble thing, but I wanted something that really makes use of the room scale.
Yeah.
And when you have kind of inside-out tracking in any room, I think a thing like Google Tilt Brush would be really, really good for it.
It's funny. The stuff I'm really curious about Quest on is how like this chaperone equivalent and all that stuff works. Do you have to pre-configure the room? You know, is it smart enough to just read the room and know that where it's safe to walk around, where isn't? Stuff like that is what I'm really super.
Because it's supposed to be a mass market device, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people like they've priced it, I think, like for $400 for something that you don't need to plug into a computer. People are gonna be excited about that. And if it's their first VR device, if this like people have been waiting and like I'm not ready for VR, but let's know I don't need to have a laptop, you don't need to have a PC, and you can actually have hands in it, then I might spend that $400 I would have spent on a high-end game console. You want it to be frictionless.
Well, and then you look at things like the Windows MR Slam room configuration is really great, but if like my dog scooches her bed around, then I have to reconfigure the room because it doesn't recognize it. Stuff
Animals.
like that.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well,
I feel
next week,
if my
maybe.
little robot that cleans the floor
Roomba?
in my
Yeah.
house,
Yeah.
if it has a little 3D thing and it reads my room, I would hope that
You can-
people who make games would like every time you turn it on, it just goes whoa 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 whoa. Maybe with lidar, whoa 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 whoa.
No,
whoa.
LiDAR.
All right, this
LiDAR.
is everything.
I think that's
vision.
for chumps.
Yeah. Computer
Lidar's
vision.
for chumps. It's probably a little bit expensive.
Other bits of VR news. There's a video you should watch. Jimmy Fallon had
Beat Saber.
Beat Saber on with Brie Larson.
Oh,
Playing Beat Saber. It's
Captain
really
Marvel.
fun. Captain Marvel playing Beat Saber and kicking Jimmy Fallon's butt in Beat Saber.
that sounds right.
It's a really fun video. And then you mentioned Labo.
This was on Quest.
No,
was this on
I think it
Vive?
was on Vive.
Okay.
And then Labo.
Yeah.
You
I have
built
spent-
the Labo.
I have built all of the Labos.
Oh,
I
Labo
built
VR.
the elephant, the bird, the wind pedal,
All
the
right.
blaster.
We're gonna film a video shortly
The
about
camera.
this, so we get to get your impressions. But quick 15-second review. It's
I would
good.
say it works much better than I expected. The TLDR for my daughter is that, like, she didn't want to build the Labo because she's 6 and it's a little hard for her at that age.
But the adults like building the Labo.
The building the Labo is super fun, very
Yep.
satisfying. The actual VR, she played with it for like 4 minutes. Was like, "Hey, Dad, can I go play the vacation game on the in your office?"
Because she's seen real.
Because she's
VR.
seen the real VR.
Spoiled,
So
jaded.
But the thing I will say is that like the things that they do with the IR camera on the right Joy-Con and the multiple IMUs to get increased accuracy and like kind of sixed off work shockingly well. Like that elephant thing, you'll see. I can't wait to see what you think. I'm really curious to see if it makes you sick because Gina didn't try because she wasn't feeling well.
yeah.
But like the like there's a tilt brush equivalent that works shockingly well with that with the elephant one.
Interesting.
That works because they know the range of motion of the cardboard and they have IMUs in both of the pieces of the cardboard.
They
plus
stack
Dad's
two
set.
3DOF things.
Yeah.
And your headset is
And the
fixed.
camera.
And the camera
with
and your
some
head is
fiducials.
fixed.
Yeah, and it works shockingly well.
Oh, they use fiducials.
So so they use those IR labels as a fiducial on the face of the elephant. There's like 5 stickies, and they get the other thing that's awesome about it that I didn't realize on the previous Labo kits I built is that in that Discover tab, the blue section, they show you and illustrate how everything works. So you can see, like they even show you what the camera sees. They let you experiment on your own with the camera live, all sorts of stuff. It's really, really neat.
All right, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Great.
And you get to fly like a bird with one of them, which is always good.
Fly like a bird.
Yeah.
I'm like a bird. I'll stop for licensing reasons.
Thank you, Robbie, and thank you for joining this week and guesting and educating us on the
And just
the world of
babbling
electric cars.
on about cars. Yeah, that's my
This
my
is
jam.
fun. It's good to see you, Robbie. It's been too
Yeah,
long.
it's good to
man.
see you guys.
Yeah. Anything new, Will?
You can. I played Spelunky with my daughter on the stream this weekend.
Okay.
She came in and while I was playing my daily Spelunky, and she was like, "Hey, can I play, Dad?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. What's the worst thing that can happen with putting your 6-year-old on the internet?" And it was very sweet. We had a really good time.
Aw.
All right.
Nothing on the Foo front to announce right now. But we have some cool projects that are coming close to fruition. I hope we'll be able to show soon.
Fruition?
Fruition. Yes.
Very good. Robbie, anything new in your world you want to promote?
Let's see.
Where can people find you online?
Oh, you know what? You can find me online on the Instagram and the Twitters at STRNGWYS. It's Strange Ways with no vowels. And I have some bands, and my bands are having some shows coming up.
Ooh.
So there'll be a Prince Bowie thing in July, and it looks like, fingers crossed, there will be a Daft Punk versus LCD sound system thing in June. So if you live in the Bay Area and you like
Are you
dancing,
do you still do the LCD sound system thing on the reg, or is that
we
done
did.
now?
We sort of stopped. We were doing an 80s show and a 90s show. We did a Talking Head show, and then our bass player moved away, and then our guitarist has taken a hiatus. So we decided just to go back because there's new songs now. The band put out a bunch of new albums, or a new album. So we went back. We started relearning the songs with the new folks in the band. We learned the new songs, and we're ready to make the kids dance, as they say on the internet. I don't know, wherever.
You got to
people
feel the music, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it should be a fun thing, and it'll be the first show with the Daft Punk stuff. So we're recreating a live 2007, live. So we've recreated that, and then we'll have like little helmets.
It's a good show. The LCD sound system show that I've seen in the past were very good.
Yeah, we work hard to make sure you dance. That's our. If we're not having fun, if you're not having fun, we're not having fun.
Oh,
It's a good motto.
I hope everyone has fun.
Yeah, I hope everyone has fun. If you don't have fun, then I'll I don't know.
If you don't have fun, get the hell out.
I'll give you a hug. I don't want you just to leave. Let's work on it.
There's a place downstairs for the no fun people.
Yeah.
We got an outro song this week. Will, I just emailed you the link so you can play it. And that will do it for us this week. This outro comes courtesy of Emil. Thank you so much. You can also create your own outro song. We got episode 500 coming up in like 3 weeks. And
What do you got planned, Norm? Anything exciting?
I have one special guest booked.
Okay.
Maybe
Is it
two.
me?
You are the other one.
I don't know if I'm available.
Okay. I have one special guest booked. All right. And we'll have maybe some more Avengers talk next week. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you next time.
I don't know if it's safe to play this when it says squirting songs.
Let's do it.
What?
Hi there, I didn't see you.
Test it.
You squirt some songs between your zunes?
Yeah, man, I love squirting songs.
Test it.
That was amazing.
Okay.
How is it all only in one channel?
It's weird.
They heard it. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
The kids have heard
Bye,
it.
everybody.
Bye. This week's episode of This Is Only a Test is made possible by Pedal. When I was young, getting a credit card was impossible. My APRs were through the roof, and I paid credit card companies a fortune in interest and fees because I didn't have a credit history. Now, I'm older. I've built some credit, but I'm still getting dinged with annual fees and foreign transaction fees. But have you ever heard of a credit card company that actually helps you avoid paying those fees and unexpected interest charges? Well, I just did, and it completely changed the way I think about credit cards. This new company is called Pedal. Pedal uses advanced technology and partners with WebBank member FDIC to provide access to a Visa credit card along with a simple, modern mobile app experience designed to help you build credit. You can qualify even if you've never had credit in the past, but make no mistake, Pedal is great for anyone looking for more from their credit card company. When Pedal says no fees, they mean it, even if you miss a payment. No annual fees, foreign transaction fees, or any other kind of fees. Pedal suggests you avoid interest charges entirely by paying in full each month. They also let you automate your payments on their mobile app so you never miss one. As of today, their variable APRs range from 15.24% to 26.24%. If you want to build your credit the right way, check out the Pedal credit card. It's a smarter credit card for the modern world. Go to pedalcard.com/test today to find out more. That's Pedal with a T. Pedal, Petal, card.com/test.